Et bienvenue mes amis, and welcome to this adventure in French, which happens to be the Passé Composé, or the past tense. The Passé Composé is the name of the past tense in French. As the name implies, the past tense in French is a composed tense. This means that the past tense is not formed by creating a stem and adding endings like the present tense. Instead, the past tense is composed of two separate parts: a helping verb, and a past participle. Okay, let's start with part one, the helping verb. In this case, for the passé composé, the helping verb is the verb avoir, which means to have. Now we have this same construction in English. For example, the sentence, I have seen the truth. All right, that's a little ominous, isn't it? But when I say I have seen the truth, I have a helping verb, I have, and then I have my past participle, which is seen. I put them both together, and it's I have seen, which is a past tense. Okay, in English we call it the perfect tense, but the French calls it the passé composé. So it's not a construction that you're unfamiliar with. So we're going to now look at the helping verb, the verb avoir, to have. All right. To do the passé composé, you need to know the present tense of avoir. So let's review that now. All right. The first person singular form of avoir is j'ai, or I have. The second person singular form is tu as, you have, you being one person. 3. The third person singular form is il a, he has. Now you could say elle a for she has. All right, the first person plural form, nous avons, we have. The second person plural form, vous avez, which means you, like you're talking to a group of people. You have. It could also be the polite form. And being from the South, my translation might be you all have. Okay. And then third person plural form is ils ont, they have. And of course, if you have an all-female group, you could say elles ont, they have. Okay, so let's look at these again. J'ai, tu as, il a, nous avons, vous avez, ils ont. If you haven't learned them now. Commit them to memory, because you're not going to be able to do the passé composé without knowing these 6 forms. All right, but that's just the first part, remember, our helping verb. Now we've got to deal with our past participle. All right, every verb's got a past participle, and each verb family forms the past participle a little bit differently. And as you know, we have 3 families of French verbs. We have the largest family, which is the ER verbs, so-called because their infinitives end with the letters ER. And we have the IR verbs, again, because the infinitive ends with IR. And then the smallest family of regular French verbs would be the RE verbs, called RE verbs because, right, the infinitive ends with RE. So let's see how each of these families makes the past participle. For ER verbs, you're going to remove the ER and you're going to add the letter E accent aigu, which is always pronounced A. Okay, if we do that with the verb manger, we end up with manger. Sounds the same, but looks very different, right? Okay, for IR verbs, we are going to remove the IR from the end of the verb, and we're going to add the ending I. Therefore, finir, to finish, becomes fini. Now, for our RE verbs, I know you've figured this out by now. You're going to remove, of course, the RE. What are we going to add? Well, we're going to add the letter U, so that ventre becomes vendu. for the past participle. So we have manger becoming manger, which means eaten. We have finir, which becomes fini, which means finished. And then we have vendre, which becomes vendu, which means sold. Okay? Now this is kind of like the present tense where we took off the final two letters and added an ending. But this is only to form the past participle. And the past participle just has this one form. Okay? So now we've got our helping verb, avoir. We know how to make our past participle for each of the regular verb families in French. All we have to do now is put them together to compose the past tense. All right, let's see how it's done. Let's take the sentence, we ate the apples. Indeed, that is a past tense. It talks about something that happened in the past and was completed in the past. All right. So to form the passé composé, or the past tense, we're going to take our subject or subject pronoun. We're going to add the present tense form of avoir that goes with that subject pronoun. And then we're going to add our past participle. And when we do all of that and do it in the right order, look what we get. We get nous avons mangé les pommes. Nous avons, okay, we have, mangé, eaten, les pommes. Nous avons mangé les pommes. Okay, this can mean we have eaten the apples, or it can mean we ate the apples. Remember, in French, it's the same translation. It uses the same tense. All right. We ate the apples. Nous avons mangé les pommes. See how simple that was, putting the helping verb, the past participle together. All right? Pretty good, don't you think? But we have a few things to clear up here. What if we want to make the sentence negative in the past? All right, I want to add, for example, ne pas, to say not, to say we did not eat the apples. All right? Normally we know that the ne pas goes around the verb. But in this case, we have more than one verb. We have the helping verb and we have the past participle. So how does it work when you have two different verb forms? Where do you put the ne pas? All right, well, you do it like this. Nous n'avons pas mangé les pommes. All right. You see the ne pas goes around the helping verb. We leave the past participle alone. So put the negative around the helping verb, and you'll be fine. Okay? What about if I want to do inversion, to ask a question in the Passé Composé? Inversion is where you take the subject pronoun and the verb, and they swap places. Normally the subject pronoun comes first and then the verb, but to ask the question, we switch them so that the verb comes first and then the subject pronoun. That's how we form questions in English, and you can see that right here with did we eat the apples? Okay? The statement would be we did eat the apples. But notice I have inverted it to ask the question so that it is now the verb comes first and we say did we eat the apples? All right. To do this in the Passé Composé, you say, avons-nous mangé les pommes? Notice we do the inversion with the helping verb. Again, we leave the past participle out of it. All right. And also in French, whenever we invert subject and subject pronoun, verb and subject pronoun, we connect the two with a hyphen. All right. So there you have it. Avons-nous mangé les pommes? Okay, well, that's the basics of the Passé Composé. There are a few more things that I need to share with you about this verb tense, but not right now. We'll save those for later. I hope you've learned something from this lesson, and I hope you'll go around now practicing and using the Passé Composé when you speak and write French. All right, my friends, it's time for me to say à bientôt.